So in 2009, you're doing a military training exercise, Sydney Harbor. 10-foot bull shark bites you on the hand and the leg at the same time. Am I pretty right on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Okay. And in that bite, takes out hamstring, artery severed, all that. And then, yeah, I mean, that's to me, I think that is so many people's just biggest nightmare come to life because it is such a, I mean, the chances, everybody knows like those like statistics, like it's you're more likely to get struck by lightning twice or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, I mean,
But then it
that
happens.
yeah, and then it happens. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
exactly.
like, God damn it, I'd rather the lightning. Uh, yeah, that
Yeah,
was a tough day, man. And I know I say because I work with sharks now, I'm like, yeah, what's the
yeah.
chance of it happening twice? But because I work with sharks, but, I've been bitten a bunch of times since then, but I'm just a little more prepared than last time.
Yeah. Oh, that has to be to me what like the craziest feeling. I mean, there's probably a lot of crazy feelings when you're getting bit by a shark. Um, I mean, and not just bit. I mean, the fucker's trying to like actually take you out. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not just like a little nibble. And but just the surprise of it. That's what I think would get me the most.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, like
just
you said, man, it's most people's worst nightmare, and it was my worst nightmare to the
yeah,
point where, like, every time I got in the water as a Navy clearance diver, I had this thought in my head. I'm like, what if there's sharks in there? What if there's sharks in there? Because it's not like we're diving in the Bahamas with crystal clear water. We're in the
right.
harbors, we're in the murky water, we're in the mud where you can't even see your hand in front of your face.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're up in northern Queensland where there's deadly sea snakes and crocodiles. And so, but you've got this
Yeah.
super dangerous job to do where it's like, okay, I've got to put these six 500-pound bombs together with det cord and detonators in water where I can't even see. I'm literally just finding them with my hands in the mud and like pulling stuff out, pulling plastic explosives out of my vest and putting it in there, and they're putting the det cord in. Then I've got to go find the other one. So it's kind of like very quickly that worry about the sharks disappears. And you're like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to get blown up, or even worse, not do my job and look like I'm shit at what I do to all the rest of the dive team.
Yeah, that's I know that see that to me, like I'm not a big ocean guy. I'm more of a I'm a bathtub fella. Like I'm decently comfortable in a bathtub, depending on the situation. But yeah, like that's one of that's my fear is like being underwater where you can't really see shit in front of you, and then out of nowhere here comes something that you don't want to be seeing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. And
yeah.
they're deathly silent, man. Like you
Yeah.
can turn your back for 2 seconds and they'll be on you from behind. And most of the cases, we have a lot of terms that we use because we don't generally like to use shark attack. We
Yeah.
have negative shark interaction, if you will, or an investigatory bite.
Yeah.
Because these sharks, a lot of the time, they don't see us as food. They're
Yeah.
just, they're sharks. They got teeth. They don't have hands, so they're not going to come up and go, "Oh, what's this thing? Can I eat it?" They just come up and go, have a little taste. And it's just a shame that
Yeah.
we're so very delicate. You know, one big
Yeah.
tooth in the wrong spot, and there's an artery gone, and you're dead in 30 seconds.
Oh,
So me, fortunately, so very lucky. Like, took my
yeah.
whole hamstring, missed my femoral artery by a couple of like millimeters. If it hit that, I would have been dead before I got out of the water. But no, it
Yeah.
took the hand, took the leg, and fortunately, I guess my training made me prepared for really intense situations like that, where I was cognizant enough and focused enough to realize what I needed to do. And I'd get to the surface and I'm like, shit, there's my safety boat with my teammates in it. All I have to do now is get to that boat. And so
Yeah.
I'm just taking a stroke, my hand's gone. So I'm trying to keep that wound above my heart to stem the
Right.
bleeding, not knowing that I've got an arterial bleed out of my leg and I'm literally swimming through a pool of blood. And but that's my only job. Get to the boat, get to the boat, get to the boat. And I'm like, there's no way
Yeah.
I'm going to make it. There's no way. There's blood everywhere. 16 sharks are going to come and attack me.
Yeah.
But but all I have to do is just keep swimming. And it's like Finding Nemo, keep swimming. So
Yeah.
eventually I got to the boat, the guys hauled me in, and I passed out because I was like, thank fuck, I'm not getting eaten anymore. And then my
Yeah.
buddies, he thinks I'm dying. He thinks I'm going into cardiac arrest. So he starts pummeling me in the chest, try and stimulate my heart to wake me back up. And I wake up and I look over and my hand's gone, freshly ripped off by a shark. My buddy Tomo's beating the shit out of me. And I'm just like, this fucking day sucks. It was rough, dude. And
I know.
you know what?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so many times, surprisingly, were even harder after that, like in the recovery process. So it's not like this
Mm,
one and done sort of thing. It's this whole journey of trial and tribulation and fear, like really intense fear of
yeah.
like not being able to do my job anymore, not being attractive to the opposite sex anymore with one hand and one leg, not being able to ride my motorbike, not being able to so many things like
Right.
what sort of horrible life am I going to live from here? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I just decided, fuck that. I'm not going to listen to that part of my brain, and I'm just going to start looking at what I can do right now with this big, impossible goal of actually getting back to work as a clearance diver. And
Yeah.
it's like anything you do, like that's really hard. You don't expect to just go and summit Everest on your first mountain climb. You got to
Mm,
learn how to do it. You got to do the little mountains. And so that's what I did. I was just like, okay, let's just try and stand up. You know, let's just
yeah.
try and hop a
Yeah.
couple of steps and without pain. And I was exercising in my bed, like trying to do one hand chin ups on the bar above my bed, like 2 days after they'd removed the rest of my leg, because I
Yeah.
was just laying there for a day and a half. I was like, this is fuck. I'm so bored. I'm so bored. What do I do? Like, I can't lay here and just let my brain go, because then my brain's going to start going down dark paths. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to take action. And I'm like, I can't do shit. I can't even get out of bed. I can't go to the toilet. I'm using a bedpan at this point. I'm just like, there's a bar up there. All right, here we go. Let's try and yeah, just anything I could get my hands into. That's kind of
Yeah.
that's the tenacity that you kind of need to get through those situations. Just
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you can't. You just got to try.
Yeah. See, I think that's a thing that probably a lot of people don't really think about. They think about like the day of the shark attack and they're like, okay, well, that's the worst moment. And then they don't really think about the fact that there's so much, like, probably, I imagine, physical therapy,
Yeah,
just all
I did
these
it.
different.
I had to do it all myself. Like
Really?
I was never given any mental health therapy.
Yeah.
There was no psychologist, no psychiatrist. I was given nothing. There was like this one woman that came to my bedside when I was still recovering from having my
Mhm.
leg chopped off, and she was an older lady, and she was very nice, but she smelt like old lady perfume really badly. She had this thick
Oh,
red lipstick, and it was all on her teeth. And I'm
Jesus.
on massive amounts of ketamine and morphine at the same time. And I'm looking at
Hell
her like,
yeah.
I can't fucking deal with this right now. And I said, thank you,
God.
honey. Like, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, but I don't need you right now. And
Oh,
she was like, looked at me like, what? What do you mean? No one's ever dismissed me
yeah.
before. And I'm like, it's great. I'm good. Don't worry about it. You can go. And so after that, I was never offered anything ever again from the military. And so I just did it all myself. And then there was no physical therapy. We don't have
Yeah.
like a Walter Reed hospital like you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
have here. They wanted to send me to an old person's rehabilitation home, like an
Right.
hour out of Sydney where I lived. And I was
No.
like, fuck that.
Nah.
I live at Bondi Beach. I'm going
Yeah.
after 9 weeks in hospital. I'm like, I'm going home. And my
Yeah.
buddy that I grew up with in my hometown, he like quit his job up north and he moved down into my apartment to help care for me and do the things that I couldn't do, which was like
That's
the
awesome.
biggest godsend ever.
Yeah.
And so he would drive me to the army base every day and just try and figure out how to get fit and strong again. And so there
Yeah.
was no one telling me what to do. It was just trial and error.
Yeah. Fuck. That's like that's where you kind of find out like who the fuck you are as a person, I think. Like
Yeah.
when it's not just like surviving a single moment, but having to like push and push and push and just keep on going. Cause if you don't, then I mean you just kind of probably waste away, I imagine. Like
Yeah, well, I
and
already
yeah.
had like I dropped so much weight just in those 9 weeks because my body was trying to heal itself so bad. Like uh, when I lose weight, there's pictures of me in the army where I because I was in the army first and then changed to the navy. Pictures of me on pre-deployment training where I'm just like this endurance athlete. My ear, I got no fat on my body, so my ears stick out like this. You can see all my ribs. I look like a prisoner of war, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of what I look like in hospital at the end of hospital again as well. And I just look at the mirror and go, nah, this is unacceptable. So that was even like another
Yeah.
driving factor. I'm like, I am not going back to that again. Um,
Yeah.
but it was like I said, it was like I had to figure out how to do these things. And the greatest help I think I had was, aside from my body, was the bloody internet, mate. Just being having the
Mhm.
access to get onto YouTube and watch video clips of Paralympians and these people.
Yeah.
Like there's a dude that climbs mountains with no legs. He climbs them on his hands with a set of gloves, and I'm like, holy
Jesus.
shit, dude,
God.
what the hell am I? Like that was the thing. I can't complain about anything because I've been on deployments to third world countries where they
Mhm.
have literally nothing. You know, they're collecting their water from a
Yeah.
tap in the street. Malaria is rampant. The people across the border have been slaughtering them for years. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I look back on that, I'm like, yeah, I got nothing to complain about. And so having being able to
Yeah.
have that perspective really helped me just kind of every time I felt down or bad or whatever, I was like, fuck you. You've got it so good. You live up on thy beach. Your best mate's a chef and he lives with you. You got a free
God.
gym, you know, all this cool stuff. And eventually I'm going to get these best prosthetics in the world. So it kind of kicked me in the ass. But at the same time, I cried myself to sleep more nights than I can even tell you, out of
Oh,
pain
man.
and fear, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I'm
imagine.
not too big a man to like say that I fucking cried, bro. I was so
Yeah.
scared and so much nerve pain and stuff like that. And it got worse because I knew that if I wanted to go back to work, I couldn't be on all these pain meds, and I was
Yeah.
living in this fog on like gabapentin, which is a nerve blocker. I was on
Yeah.
bulk oxy, and a bunch of other stuff, and I realized I identified that I'd lived in this fog before, and I swore to myself I would never go back to that place where I was in my late teens, where I was, you know,
Mm.
kicked out of home, flunked high school, and I was
Yeah.
smoking heaps of weed. I was broke as hell. I was getting unemployment. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, drinking all the time, and I lived in this fog. And I regretted those years my whole life. And
Mhm.
it's funny that that memory of that and swearing I would never do that again actually came into play to help me get off the drugs, and it helped me, you know, gather some determination to really get off the pain meds.
Mhm.
And so obviously the pain that comes along with that's pretty crazy as well. So
Yeah. Fuck yeah. No, with withdrawals from pain meds is a different level of like I had
yeah,
some pretty bad DTs from alcohol withdrawals whenever I quit drinking. And it was one of the weirdest, like shittiest feelings on the planet. And so I can imagine trying to like doing that while also dealing with everything else. Holy hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? You got a whole
Yeah. I
life ahead
mean,
of you. You just gotta
yeah.
put up with it, get through it. Eventually everything gets better. So go through the pain now so you can enjoy life later.
Do you still have any nerve pain? Like, are there is there stuff like that that has lasted even? I mean, it's been all what is that? My math is shit. 16 years, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I still have phantom sensation. So there's
Oh,
everyone
okay.
talks about phantom
Phantom
pains.
limb. Yeah.
But there's two types. There's phantom sensation, which I have
Mhm.
every minute of every day. It never goes away. It's always there, like intense pins and needles in my hand that's not there, and in my foot that's not there,
Fuck.
which is weird. But it's kind of like that white noise in the background. You know, if you're at home, you got the radio
Mhm.
playing, you kind of forget it's on. It's like that until like I start to think about it. But then there's
Like
phantom
right now.
pain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry.
but then there's phantom pain as well, and that's kind of like
Mhm.
if I'm hungover, if I'm dehydrated, if I'm
Yeah.
run down, then I get this electrical bolt from my hip to my foot, or I get this like a murder hornet stinging me on a nerve in my arm. And
Yeah.
so, you know, you just got to do things to make sure you try and don't get that. And that might attack you like once every 45 minutes when it comes, or I've had it
Uh-huh.
where it was like every 15 seconds, and it's so painful, it just wipes you out and you can't do anything. The best thing I found, actually, I was in an emergency situation in Georgia. I was waiting for my buddy to come pick me up, and I was in this little market, and it was just hammering me in the leg.
Yeah.
And I found this little stall that had CBD. And I'd never tried that before. And I'm like, I will do anything. And I took the CBD, within 5 minutes, it was all gone.
Dude, CBD is no joke. Like it works
Yeah.
so damn well. And I think a lot of people don't, they just kind of are skeptical about it because it seems like a trend, like one of those things.
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude.
That
CBD
shit
is,
works. You just got to,
yeah,
I believe you have to get the stuff that has a little bit of THC in it so
yeah,
it can attach to the nerve receptors or something. But
right.
it's funny you ask about the nerve pain because I have it really. The reason I'm standing up instead of sitting down is because I
Mm,
was on a boat in Australia last week and we just got hammered and my
yeah.
spine, like I was on this chair, fuck. And so now I have a herniated disc in my lower back,
Fuck.
and so I can't sit down. It's
Jesus
okay
Christ.
as long as I'm moving and I'm standing
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
It's all right. Like I went to the gym this morning. I was bench pressing. I'm
yeah.
doing all the things, but then I get in the car in the seated position. I'm like,
Yeah.
got to drive home. So this is
Yeah.
stupid. I'm back on the gabapentin again, but I didn't have
Oh,
any, so I'm using my dog's old drugs. They're about 2 years old. He had a spinal injury and he had a heap left over, so I'm just
yeah.
double dosing his.
Wrapping it up in like lunch meat so you can eat it like a dog.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And putting it in
Peanut
dog
butter.
food.
Peanut butter is my favorite.
Man, yeah.
But
Is it like, because obviously I'm from the old US of A, and I think we typically imagine that shark attacks are just so common in Australia, or we think of like Australia just being this place where as soon as you land, you're going to be attacked by some sort of animal, which is probably bullshit. Like, have you ever even known someone who had been attacked by a shark? Like, how often does it happen there? Because I know here it's just so fucking rare. Is that the same there as well? Like, or is it slightly
yeah,
more
actually, Florida has had the highest rate of shark bites in the world
New
over,
Smyrna
over the
Beach?
last. Yeah, Smyrna.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely there. That's apparently the shark bite capital of the world.
yeah.
And we did a show looking at why that was all up the East
Mhm.
Coast, and because there wasn't a lot of deaths. It was just bites, and it was these
Yeah.
black-tip sharks that migrate up and down the coast in the hundreds and thousands, and the
Mhm.
great hammerheads chase them into shore. And so it's just
Okay.
people like wading and stuff like that,
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
little nips here and there. So that bumps up the numbers and the statistics. There's this thing called the shark attack file, and that documents every single shark bite, whether it's an attack, a death, or whatever.
Mhm.
And anyone can go on and look at it and see where everything is, what time of day, what shark, what suspected shark. So Australia, it's kind of like it's rare, like you said,
Yeah,
but it seems like it's very prevalent because as soon as there is one, it's plastered all over the news and all over the
yeah,
newspapers. And we
yeah,
have problem with Australia is we have really big sharks, and so we do
yeah.
have a lot of actual deaths. I believe a surfer in Western Australia about 2 weeks ago got attacked, and they still haven't found his body. Um, and then in South
Yeah,
Australia, there was one recently as well where a person got eaten. So it does happen. It's not. It is like what we were saying before, rarer than getting hit by lightning. It's they
yeah,
do these funny statistics. You're more likely to get killed by a cow. You're more likely to get
yeah,
killed by a vending machine. Um,
yeah, yeah,
but those things are preventable.
yeah,
The only thing you
yeah,
can do to prevent a shark attack is just not go in the water, or
yeah.
you,
Well, that's
once
true.
again we got the internet. Look on the internet. Google the beach you're going to, see if there's been any shark bites there. And if
Yeah,
there has, and it's been recently, maybe go to another beach.
yeah,
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 there's
yeah,
there's a lot of beaches. You can go anywhere you want. There's no reason to go into these places where there's been shark bites in the past or recently. Um, but it is very, very rare. It is.
yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I imagine. But so I guess you have what more just bull sharks, great whites. I mean, I guess great whites are probably around in there, and what tiger sharks
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, we
which
got them all. We got them all.
yeah,
The
definitely
bronze
wouldn't want
whalers.
any of those. Fucking a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Jesus.
it's funny because there's there people think, well, so. I film Shark Week obviously
Yeah.
now, and everyone in their mind thinks, oh, you can just go out there, throw some chum, and the sharks turn up. Dude, it is so hard to find the shark sometimes. We did a show
Yeah.
last year where we went back to where I got attacked in Sydney Harbour, and
Mm.
we were there at the right time of year. The water temperature was perfect, and we were diving. And we had two guys fishing for sharks as well, so we could go and tag them.
Yeah.
And we barely saw a single shark that whole time. We had like two massive wheelie bins of frozen
Yeah.
chum dumped into the middle of the harbour, and we barely got any sharks. So it's not like they're roaming around.
Yeah.
As soon as you dip your toe in the water, they're going to snatch your leg off. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like it's pretty rare. I'm like, if you see a shark, you're blessed because so few people in the world actually get to see them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen one shark in my entire life. I was at a beach. So we have this beach in Texas called Galveston, which is one of the shittiest beaches probably in the world.
I've sailed out of there. We went into a
Okay.
show filming sharks under the oil rigs off the
Oh,
coast of America.
yeah. Yeah,
That's right, the
The
Gulf
Gulf
of
of
America.
America. That's
Yeah,
right. Hell yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but so we went to that beach a lot as a kid, being kind of a lower middle class trailer park family, sort of, that's like our Bahamas. So we would go there and we were out in the water and we look over by this pier and somebody had caught a shark. And we were like, we're not far from that. Like, this probably isn't a good idea. And that was like the only time I've ever seen one. I've never heard of someone. I mean, there was like a doctor in my town that got killed by sharks not that long ago. Not here, but just he was out doing whatever the fuck and got, yeah, I mean, he took one. Yeah. And
Man, it can happen. You enter
it can
that
happen.
food
It's just,
chain.
yeah, it's just so I guess I wonder is like what saltwater crocodiles probably worse in Australia. That
Not
seems worse,
that
but
in terms of like being more terrifying and that being like very, very dangerous.
yeah,
It's not as you know, it doesn't happen that much because
yeah.
generally there's signs everywhere. Like because you only get them when you go up north. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
it's
Yeah,
my
no, you're good.
my chick that was treating my back yesterday. Uh,
Yeah.
um, there's a lot of signage. It only happens when you go past a certain degree in Australia up to the north.
Okay.
But yeah, they
Gotcha.
are, dude. Once again, I did a show with crocodile sharks first crocs, and we were out in the middle of the night catching these 16-foot crocodiles, and it was terrifying. I'm in this little boat, and it's pitch black at night, and we're going
Mhm.
into shore, and I'm with this croc expert apparently, and we got to pull up, but we got to jump into waist deep water so we can get to the sand. And I got my robot leg, dude. I don't move waist deep water with a robot leg very well. I fall over a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so how do we know there's no crocodiles here? And he goes, oh, you take this torch and you shine it around, and if you see any lights, that's the torch reflecting off their eyeballs, and that's how you spot them. And I'm like, cool.
Well,
What if they're underwater?
yeah, that's
He goes, just
yeah.
move really quickly, you'll be fine. I'm like, fuck me. Wow.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they are terrifying animals. I've got
yeah.
a buddy I just worked with, incredible shark cinematographer, one of the most
Mhm.
amazing dudes ever, Mark Rackley, and
Oh
he
yeah, I
was
know Mark
Mark
Rackley.
Rackley?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a
Well, yeah.
absolute badass,
Yeah,
man.
he used to do a lot of the
Shark
stuff
Week
for like
legend.
yeah, he used to do a lot of stuff for like Jackass and Wild Boys also back in the day. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But he was just in Africa. I can't remember what, like Gabon or something like that. And him and his
Uh-huh.
buddy were free diving in like super murky waters with crocodiles, like the Nile crocodiles, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they were doing it for, where they were filming, but his buddy went down and this croc just came straight out of the murk at him and he tried to swim away and it grabbed him by both his legs and
Ugh.
it's got him
Gee.
underwater and it's spinning him like a death roll. And in
Yeah.
his mind, he's like, I'm fucked. Like, I'm not getting out of this unless I can twist my own legs off. And so he waits for it to roll again and he throws his body the other way and
Oh.
both of his legs come off and Mark goes down there finds him and stabs the croc in the back of the head to let him go. And then you can see, because they've got GoPros and stuff on, you can
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
footage of them like swimming back up the surface. You can see his legs all mangled. And like that, yeah, no, no. Give me
yeah,
sharks any day of the week. Like I
yeah,
love sharks now, man. Like learning how to read their personalities and when you can mess with them and when you need to stay away. Like that's something I've
yeah.
learned from, the best in the business, the cinematographers,
Mhm.
some of the scientists. It's surprising because not a lot of shark scientists like getting in the water with sharks. They like to do their studies. They like to put in their tracking tags and stuff like that. But very
Yeah.
few of them will actually get in the water.
Yeah, just swimming with sharks is my number 1 on my bucket list of things to do. Like, in the
Dude, you got to
cage,
come.
obviously, but
I'm running a trip in November. I've got 2 trips, early
where is that?
November, late November, to Bimini in the Bahamas, and we got 3 days. We start with cage diving with bull sharks right next to the dock, so you can get get a little
Oh,
used
yeah.
to it, and then
Yeah,
2 days of scuba diving with great hammerheads. And more often than not, tiger sharks turn up as well. So
that's
that's
awesome.
awesome. And then we do
Yeah.
a Caribbean reef shark dive and a wreck dive, and then it's on your way home. It's the best. So basically, everyone from my last trip is like signed up again.
Oh, that would be man, that's, like, top for me.
Dude,
I find
I'll send you
yeah,
the details just in case you can.
dude, I
But
would
but
love to.
you got to go get scuba qualified first.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I mean, I can hold my breath underwater like a son of a bitch, and you'd be surprised. I'll free dive that damn thing. Yeah. Now, I'm actually pretty agile under the water despite how what it may seem. Kinda like a
But
manatee. I don't know if you ever.
bathtub doesn't count, Cody.
Yeah, but I can spin real fast in one. That's yeah, I can get from one end to the other real quick, trust me.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I'll send you the details. It'd be good to have you along.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, that would be amazing. I find sharks. I'm obsessed with them. I think they're so fucking interesting, and it probably is a surprise to people that being attacked or having a negative encounter with a shark, that you would become like kind of an advocate for sharks, which they need people to be advocates for them because we're fucking killing them all, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah, it
people would just be
does.
surprised that you would be like one of those people.
Dude, it wasn't planned at all. Like I just wanted to go back to work. But
Yeah.
because it was so big in the Australian media, everyone after the fact wanted to follow up and do stories on it and stuff. And my recovery was so quick. And I got back to work after only 6 months. So, 60 Minutes came along, and morning shows, all that. So I kind of got used to being in front of the camera. And then 60 Minutes, one year they took me, like 2 years later, they took me to Fiji to go diving with actual bull sharks. And I loved it. Like on the last day of the last dive, it was just me, the owner, and the cameraman. And I looked at him and I raised my eyebrows and I pointed down at the bait box and I was like, "What do you reckon?" And he's like, go on. He gave me this
Yeah.
chainmail glove and I ended up feeding a 13-foot bull shark. And
God.
after that, I was hooked. I was like, just, I want to go diving with sharks everywhere. And then, so fortunately,
Yeah.
along comes Discovery Channel and they're like, "Hey, do you want a job going to see sharks?" I was like, "Hell yeah. See you later, Navy." Moved to
Yeah.
America. I'm in California. I'm in Marina Del Rey, right next to Venice
Oh
Beach.
yeah.
I get to live this incredible life. I see Arnold Schwarzenegger at the gym in the morning, and
Jesus.
from a small town kid in Australia to living this amazing life where I get paid to travel the world, have adventures, try not to die. That's a big one. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy, like when you open yourself up to opportunity and you're not too afraid to like just see that door of opportunity and just go, "Oh,
Mhm.
I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to try anyway." And
Yeah.
that was really nerve-wracking about being on camera, being on TV, being on shows that millions and millions of people watch. And every time I'd have this mantra in my head, just like, "Don't look like a dickhead. Don't look like a dickhead. Don't look like a
It's
dickhead."
a
So I
good
was so,
philosophy. Yeah.
yeah, I was so nervous. And like, I still think that like, okay, I got to be careful about what I say. And I've got to, really try and get across how I truly feel instead of just like nervously waffling. Like, I want to teach people about sharks. I want to show
Yeah.
them why they're beautiful and why they're important, why they need to be protected, but without being too preachy. And like,
Yeah.
I want people to care. like the way that I do. Steve Irwin said, if you can make someone fall in love with something, they'll want to protect it. And so that's kind of my goal with what I do.
Yeah. And he did that for sure. Because I'm
Yeah.
crocodiles are one of those things too that I'm just endlessly fascinated by them. Like I've had a fellow on before, a fellow named Damien Duffy, who was also from Australia. He's a big like crocodile expert. And yeah, I mean, and he kind of said this, sort of similar thing about crocodiles. Like you, yeah, you may have a fear of them, but you still like fall in love with them and you want them to be around. They've been around a hell of a lot longer than we have, and you kind of want them to
Yeah.
still be here.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
terrifying. But imagine we didn't have any of these cool things. Like, how
I
boring
know.
would the world be?
God, imagine if we just had like fucking rabbits and shit. It would suck. Yeah, I mean, my
We'd
God, you
be
can
eating a
only
lot of rabbit stew.
God. I mean, you can only see so many squirrels before you're like, all right, fucking enough. Like, where's
Oh,
a
I don't know.
hawk or something?
I've been here 9 years and I still like seeing the squirrels.
Well, yeah. I mean, they are they're pretty nice, I suppose. But
Yeah, well, it's just because we don't really have like things that big roaming around our neighborhoods, regardless of what
yeah,
people think. Like,
yeah,
my
yeah,
mum wakes up in the morning and there's 20 kangaroos on her front yard, but that's like way out of the city, down by the coast. So it's rare
yeah.
to see these cute little things. Like me and my wife at the moment are making friends with a crow that lives in our neighborhood, just leaving him little
That's
treats, and yeah,
yeah. That's my favorite animal, actually. Like
dude, they're so smart.
crows. Yeah, like I've seen videos of them like talking, like mimicking the human's voice, like their actual like accent and everything. Like
Yeah,
this is how is this not being shown every day to people? Like,
yeah,
look at what
and
this
that's
fucking thing did.
and truly that's the thing about animals that I think people tend to forget. They are these living creatures. They like people go out and kill sharks. Like, you're dragging this defenseless animal around by the face with a hook jammed in its head for hours
Yeah,
on end. Like, if you did that, went out to the paddock and did that to a cow or your dog or something like that, you'd be thrown
yeah,
in jail. But for some reason, because we can't hear them scream or they're scary or
yeah,
whatever, it's okay to go and do that. They're not Sharks are not classed as being an actual animal that can be protected. So unless
yeah,
it's like a great white, they're protected in some areas.
yeah.
Maybe the tiger sharks, and I think like the Maldives, I think they're protected. Bahamas is a
Mhm.
shark sanctuary, but around America, man, you can take as many sharks as you want. And you can go out there
Yeah,
every day and you can kill a hammerhead shark. Another thing people forget is these animals travel. So
yeah.
these sharks that you kill, let's say the hammerhead sharks in Florida,
Mhm.
they go to the Bahamas, and we might have known that shark for 10 years. And they're big and they've given birth to pups and they're so delicate and they come in and they chill and we feed them. And then some dude for a picture comes and takes that life away. And, you've just affected not just that shark, but all of us as well, because
Yeah,
we know that shark. And you're just like, yeah, cool, killed shark. And then everyone in the comments is like, yeah, kill them all, kill them all. I'm like, man, people are
yeah.
they're too disconnected from nature.
I hate it. It bothers me so fucking much whenever I see that. Or there's a big one with snakes because I'm also like a pretty big snake lover as well. And you always hear like, or at least I did growing up, like a good snake is a dead snake. Like you always hear that. I'm like, how stupid are you? Like, this thing has like a purpose. Like, and yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have like emotions in the same way that like a your pet dog does, but it's still like still a living thing. And and now, granted, if you're like, I'm not against like hunting and things like that. I
Yeah.
think
Well,
because I eat meat, so it would be very
I'm,
hypocritical of me to be
I
against
don't,
it.
I,
But
I don't even eat meat, but
oh,
I get
really?
it as no, I haven't. I've been plant-based for 9 years. Um,
Oh, wow, hell yeah,
but but I get it. Like, I ate meat for 40 years. I used to eat, I'd make kangaroo tacos and all manner of food. So I get it. Like, I'm not going to preach. I'm not saying that
yeah,
I'm right. I'm going to do what I feel is best for me
right,
because I fucking love animals and I don't want to fund an industry that tortures and kills them. Like, the animal agriculture industry, the factory farming is one of the
mhm.
most horrendous things that humans do on this
Ugh,
planet. And
yeah,
you are like, it's not just the harm to the animal, but I don't see that it can be healthy for us as well, because you've got these animals that live very short lives in fear, in pain. You're consuming that adrenaline, that cortisol, the
mhm.
antibiotics that they pump into them. And then by the time it gets to you, it's not even like energetic food. It's dead. It's been dead for a long time, and some of the time they spray it with carbon monoxide to make it look fresh. So it's like, how can that be good for you? Sure, it's protein. Sure, okay, you need protein to survive,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's so bad. And I get hunting, I get subsistence hunting.
Yeah.
Um, I would do it if the world came to the end. If we're at World War Z or whatever, if it's me or the animals, it's the animals. But
Yeah.
I live in LA, man. Like I
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah.
it. And my
Yeah.
health hasn't suffered at all in nearly a decade. So,
Yeah.
as long as that happens, as long as that's fine, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, it's all kind of just dependent on how people look at it and like what they're doing it for. Like, it's not necessarily that I'm like, I love it when someone kills an animal, but I think if you're doing it in that way, it's like, okay, I get that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
what
not
in,
funding. They're not funding factory farming for starters.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And like if you kill a deer, like I grew up around, in Texas, obviously surrounded by people who hunt, you kill a deer and that like one deer is lasting like your whole family plus like other family members because you're constantly giving out meat for like the whole year. So
yeah.
it's like that's not, whereas this factory farm is killing, a million chickens a
But
year
it's
and
kind of
like
like it's so confusing because it's like, dude, what's the other option? You got
yeah,
how many hundreds of millions of people do we have in America? Like
yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah,
It's a lot of people to feed.
yeah,
How do you could feed them on plants and also reduce the footprint from the animals that are creating dead zones in the ocean and stuff like
mm,
that. But humans aren't going to change until like we don't
no,
change until we absolutely have to. And
yeah,
by that point, it's probably going to be too late anyway. But I think there's really, really great human beings out there that are trying to help and trying to keep us alive. Um,
mhm.
People like Bill Gates. Jokes.
Mm. Yeah, all right. That's a sure. Yeah, sure. Bill and
Yeah,
Melinda Gates. Yeah, they're
yeah,
they're
yeah,
helping us all. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we can definitely bring down the population with the use of vaccines and things like that. Yeah, so let's go and get vaccines that Bill Gates says
Yeah.
that'll kill us all.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're gonna do a bunch of weird shit with mosquitoes that is gonna save the
Dude,
world, but we're gonna yeah, like basically try to eradicate mosquitoes, which I mean, I hate mosquitoes just as much as anyone else. They suck, but they're here for a reason and they've been here for a long ass time. Like
yeah,
Jurassic Park is my favorite movie, which I've said probably a million times. But there's, that whole philosophy of like, these things are here, like they died for a reason. Like, when they're talking about like, dinosaurs are going off, like this happened for a reason. Well, the animals that are still here are here, they serve some sort of purpose,
yeah,
or
well,
else
they're
they
feeding,
wouldn't be
they're
here.
feeding the amphibians, they're feeding the frogs that,
Yeah.
feed other things. There's this very delicate saying that runs through nature. And it's like every time we go in and we try and modify it for our own gain, we fuck it even worse. Yeah, you take
Hell yeah.
something like one of the reasons sharks are so important, they're what's called a keystone species, like,
Mhm.
the bears and things like that. You remove this animal from an environment, there's nothing to eat its prey. And so
Yeah.
that prey population explodes. And
Right.
then they've got to eat everything, which is all the food underneath them. And then when
Yeah.
they're not there, so you've got the carnivorous fish eating the herbivorous fish. The
Mhm.
herbivorous fish aren't there anymore to consume the algae that's growing on the reef. The reef
Mhm.
gets covered in algae, it dies, the whole ecosystem's gone. And so just
Yeah.
by removing that one animal,
Yeah. God. Yeah, it's
crazy, huh?
crazy. I mean,
We just got to leave that shit alone. Just leave it alone. Let
yeah,
it
I know
do its thing.
it
Don't
is
don't
interesting.
reintroduce extinct species.
Oh
Just
my god. That is driving me that dire wolf thing drives me nuts because whatever, it's a wolf, like, there are still wolves, like, maybe it's not that big of a but, like, now talking about bringing back, like, a woolly mammoth, leave
yeah.
it the fuck alone. Like,
Surely that's
don't
just
bring
the
it
tip of
back.
the iceberg, though, because
Yeah.
China cloned that sheep like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Dolly
What
you're
are
talking
they?
about
What
Dolly
are?
or
Yeah, yeah. What
yeah,
have they
yeah.
been doing since then?
Yeah, they didn't stop it. I mean, hell, Barbara Streisand had her dog cloned. I swear to God, I'm not even joking.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
Lord.
Barbara Streisand's dog was gonna die, and she had the dog cloned.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which, they
Oh,
could have
man.
just went to, like, an animal shelter and found one that looked like it, pulled a Meet the Parents on him, spray
Could have
paint the
done a good
tail.
deed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's probably what they did, and they just said, "Oh, here you go, Barbara, here's your clone dog," and then
Oh
they
my
spent,
Lord.
$20 on a animal shelter dog. But yeah, I don't know. We tend to just really fuck things up, like
Yeah.
like
We did it in
when we get
Australia.
involved.
There's a really good example from Australia. We had, I think it was in the 70s or something, maybe the 80s. We had this cane bug problem in the cane fields because that's a really
Hmm.
big export for Australia, the cane sugar. And
Yeah.
so they're like, oh, government in their infinite wisdom, what can we do? Oh, there's this thing called a cane, what is it? A cane toad.
Yeah,
And
cane
so, like,
toad. Yeah,
if
yeah.
we get like a lot of those and we put them down, they can eat the cane bugs. And so they did, but the cane bugs are up in the cane.
Hmm.
And the frogs are on the ground. The cane
Yeah.
toads are on
Yeah.
the and cane toads are poisonous for anything that eats them. So it
Ugh,
wiped out the whole ecosystem. It killed the birds. It killed all of the carnivorous animals. And so it's like,
Jesus.
and then the cane bugs are still there. And
Yeah,
now we,
and
we still, to this day, we have a cane toad problem across Queensland.
God, that's
That's
amazing.
stupid. Yeah,
Yeah,
governments, man.
we've done so much shit like that. Like the Everglades in Florida are basically wrecked right now because of I mean, not necessarily the government dropping in pythons, but there's like the massive python problem, where people
Yeah,
go
well, how
up.
did that start? Was that just from people having exotic
Yeah,
animals?
so people in Florida tend to have nothing better to do than to own, pythons. And then they realize that it's like not it's kind of a lot of work to own a snake, and they're not it's like you're gonna take it out and play with it or something. I mean, some
You play
people, I guess.
fetch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Here's a
exactly.
mouse. Here's a
Yeah,
mouse.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you can teach them to sit, and that's about it. Which I mean, they're kind of already doing 24/7. But yeah, and so people would just dump them, and they give birth at a alarming rate. Like,
Okay.
yeah, so now there's just, I mean, millions of,
I know there's a
like,
lot of people out there trying to catch them and bring the numbers down, but I heard that
yeah,
they were adapting to the climate up north as well, and they've been found as far as New York now.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and
That's
once they get into New York and those sewers with those rats, and
Oh my
yeah,
god.
could there's apparently like 20 million rats in New York. Could be, let's try this thing again.
Yeah.
Introduce the species. They have giant dinosaur Burmese pythons going through the
Oh
sewers of
yeah.
New York.
Oh, eating those fucking, I mean,
Radioactive
radioactive
rats.
rats, exactly. Those rats have been eating nothing but like Sbarro pizza and shit for oh yeah, that's
Dude, I've seen videos of
yeah.
the size of those damn things, and they're big and they're like
Yeah.
cats, and they're not scared of anything.
Yeah, they look like German shepherds. Like it is astounding when you see it. Like there's a documentary called Rats, which I don't know if you've seen it, but it is
Nah.
amazing where they just go through different parts of the world and show like just the rat problems. And it is they go through New York City at night, when everybody takes out their trash, like all the restaurants and stuff, and they just leave these trash bags like loose on the fucking sidewalk. And and people will go over with a stick and just smack the trash bags, and there's just hundreds of rats
Oh my
running
Lord.
out.
That's
Like
because
this
we've
is
we've removed their predators, you know?
I
But
mean,
you
I
can't,
don't
it's not
know.
like
Yeah.
you can just release cats into New York City, or cougars or pumas or anything like that, or snakes.
Well,
But
yeah.
once again, we've interrupted nature, so now we have this
Yeah.
over blossoming problem of rats. Fuck, I was going to say something. I totally forgot what it was. But
No,
it
no
doesn't matter.
worries. Yeah, no, no. Yeah, I mean, rats, they have their purpose too, but at the
Oh, that's what I
same
was going to
way,
say.
yeah,
Dude, they're just like crows. They're so smart. There's rats that go out and search for mines in war zones.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they are. Yeah, it's interesting how just a couple or about 1,000 years worth of disease really made humans hate those bastards,
Yeah, and it
which
wasn't
I
even
think
them.
they're
It was it
interesting.
was it was the fleas. It wasn't
I
even the
know it was the
rats.
fleas on the rats, and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which, yeah, that's God, it's just incredible. I don't know. Animals, like the whole animal kingdom, like all of it's just so fascinating to me. Like,
it's very
especially,
surprising that we haven't had one of those like big bubonic plague type things with all the stuff that's going on with animals. It's very
well,
surprising.
well, we did have a little bit of one that, or so they say.
From bats.
Yeah, or somebody fucking a pangolin or whatever they said.
Yes. Oh, you've been watching too much South Park, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, Randy Marsh fucking a
Yeah,
pangolin. Next
yeah,
thing you know, the world's shut down.
uh-huh.
Yeah. I no, I mean we've never had anything even close to the bubonic plague. Like when you go back and look at like the history of that, you're like, Jesus Christ. Like how are
Mate, if
we
that
even still
happens,
here?
that the next day I'll be out here stealing one of these boats, probably the biggest one I can find, and I'll
Yep.
be setting sail. And it's
Oh yeah.
adios, bon voyage, all of you. I'm not
God.
getting wrapped up in that.
No, fuck that. No, I think, one pandemic in a lifetime is good enough for me. I'm cool with not having another one of that shit happening, even though
Yeah.
obviously nothing really happened. But I'm, just yeah, I'll tell you, they got me. The fear, it got me.
Oh
I'm
no.
kind of an anxious little bastard, and
Okay.
it got to me. I was like, I'm not leaving this fucking house.
Oh
And
man, I'm
I
sorry to hear
know.
that.
Well, now I'm like,
I was out at the gym surrounded by 600 people. It was like the only gym in LA that was open. I'm like, fuck, this is stupid. I don't get sick. I
yeah.
haven't been sick in a decade. I'm not gonna worry about this
Well,
shit.
yeah, I mean, it didn't my fear of all of that did not last long because eventually I was like, "Well, I'm not I can't be doing this. Like, let me
Yeah.
just go get it. I'll go and suck on a doorknob if I have to. Like, let me just immunize myself. Fuck it."
I just said no. I
Yeah.
was in the military long enough to be stuck like a pincushion, and I got get out,
Yeah.
and the government's telling me I got to take more jabs. I'm like, eat a dick. You don't get to
Yeah.
tell me what I get to have to stick in my body anymore. Now it's just
Yeah.
testosterone. You can get.
Hell yeah. Man, I got it. I got the vaccine and I regret it so much. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily regret it because what's the point in regretting it? But
Yeah, you
I
can't
do
regret it.
think like, wow, they just got me. They tricked me kind of, like
Yeah,
the fear worked. I mean,
yeah.
and
I
I
think
always
that was
thought,
the. I think that
yeah,
was the test.
oh, for sure. And I always thought like in my head, I'm way too logical and, I'm way too smart to fall for any of that kind of stuff. But I did.
Yeah.
I fell for it,
Well,
hook, line,
dude,
and sinker.
honestly, it did affect some people. Some
Yeah. Yeah.
friends of friends died, and I don't know the causes. Whether they said if you have comorbidities like other sicknesses and stuff, you're more
Mhm.
inclined to it. I feel like if that was true, that there just wouldn't be any over obese, sorry, morbidly obese people around anymore,
Yeah.
and LA definitely wouldn't have any homeless crackheads. Like, why are they all immune? They're like
Well,
vampires now. You got to cut their head off to get rid
yeah.
of them.
Well, crack will preserve you, pretty
Yeah,
I mean, it's like heroin, like heroin, if you do it long enough and don't die, you're pretty much immune to death.
yeah, but you
Like
got to
what
take the heroin every day.
well, you take the heroin every day for a certain amount of time, then you quit before you OD. So basically Iggy Pop. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it were, Keith Richards, like those people are never gonna die. I mean, Iggy
yeah.
Pop looks like a piece of fried chicken, but he's still
He's
around.
still kicking, and he's still putting it together. Like that's it's
Yeah.
incredible.
But that's my point. He did a lot of heroin and then he stopped.
Yeah.
He went to the edge of the cliff and turned back around. My God. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
read that book from the scar tissue one from Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
that guy so I ran into him. What's his name again?
Anthony Kiedis? Is that what you're talking
Anthony
about? Yeah,
Kiedis,
yeah.
yeah. When I first moved out here, I was up at Malibu because I had this like probably the best smoothie bowl you've ever had in your life at this joint called Sun Life Organics.
Mhm.
My friend, I became friends with the owner, Khalil, really nice guy, and I was just down there, I'm sitting eating my bowl, and I hear Paul, come here, I want you to meet my friend Anthony. And I turn around and I stand up, and there's this little fella down here,
Yeah.
and he's looking up at me. And Khalil's going, oh, I got attacked by a shark and this and that. And I look next to Ketis and there's this like giant Santa Claus bear man. And it's Rick Rubin. And so
That's
I'm like,
amazing. Yeah.
Anthony's looking up at me with this really distant, far away look in his eyes while I'm telling this little story. And it was just crazy because I'd only been in LA for a couple of months. I'm like, holy shit, I just met fucking
Yeah.
Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, fucking Rick Rubin. I was like, man, I
Yeah.
love this place. This would never happen in Australia.
No, no, probably not. Yeah, you just
Like,
run
oh,
into
I ran into Hugh Jackman once at the beach. So
That's
that
a
was
good
pretty
one.
cool. Had a
I
little
mean,
chat with him for a while.
yeah, Hugh. I mean, Hugh Jackman. That's high up there. I mean, it's either him or the singer for Midnight Oil. I mean, there's not a whole lot of other people you're running into, I imagine.
Yeah. I used to get called him a lot in Australia. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I can't
makes
dance as
sense.
well.
Let me tell you, there's
Yeah.
something very captivating about how that guy dances.
Yeah.
I'll
No
watch
one
the
like
b- yeah, I'll watch the Beds Are Burning video probably 10 times a day. And I'm just like, this is
his mistake
incredible.
was he got into politics and now no one likes him anymore.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that he is not highly
No.
loved in
No,
Australia.
because he was all about environmental stuff and then he just went with the mainline parties.
Yeah.
So, I
God,
don't know much about that. I don't really
but
know much
still,
about
yeah.
politics or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I try not to get wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, uh, I don't know what the word for it is. It's tough out here right now.
Yeah.
You just don't want to bring it up at all because you're either going to get
No.
in a fight or you're going to have to sit there and listen to someone rant or yeah, or
Yeah.
like I don't know. I don't want to like speak badly about any other side of the fence,
Sure.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
I do feel like the people that support the Republican Party are much more chill.
Yeah, I mean, there's 100% extremes in both. Like there is
Yeah,
for fucking anything, but I will say they tend to be less, um, or they tend to be a little bit more accepting of somebody not being the extreme. Whereas, like, if you're on the left, it does feel like you have to be the fucking farthest left you can be to
yeah.
fit in,
If
or
you
you're
say
getting called
anything
out.
to support the other side, it's like you get wow, it just
Yeah,
gets slammed.
yeah,
Usually, like I got friends on both sides. I don't really
for
care.
sure.
Like it's
Yeah,
not my business. I can't vote. I'm just
yeah,
blessed to be in this amazing country with incredible people.
yeah,
And so like I just I agree. Yeah, nod and smile, like
yeah,
cool. I know that you probably think you're right, and you probably think you're right, and maybe there's some sort of right in the middle that I
right.
hope you can all come to agreement with. But I don't think so because you can't take our guns, and we want illegal immigrants in America. And it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
it's, it's never going to come. It's never going to meld together.
No, no, it's like, I mean, that was part of George Washington, whenever he left office, that was like part of his parting thing was that he had a fear, basically warning the future presidents, whoever they may be, do not let this country turn into like a two-party system. It's gonna fucking
Oh,
ruin everything because then
really?
you're gonna make everybody's gonna be an enemy and everybody's gonna go as far to that one side as possible. It basically predicted everything that happened. And then, throughout the years in like US history, there have been other political parties that have tried to like come along and they just never last because both groups don't want them involved. Like they just
Yeah,
say, no, you're
man.
not with either of us. Well, then we both hate you.
Should have put
Yeah.
that in the Constitution, dude.
Yeah. It's,
Everyone
yeah.
loves that Constitution.
Oh my God. I know it's,
You know, the
it is
funny thing is,
amazing.
it was written by like 24-year-olds, like
That
200 years
it's,
ago, while they were probably doing snuff and
oh
drinking
yeah.
homemade booze.
Oh, there is I found this the other day. It's a bar tab, like basically an alcohol list that was demanded whenever they were writing. It was one document. It was either
I
Articles of
think
Confederation.
you did a like a little post on it
No,
or something, did you?
no,
Because I
no, I
saw that
didn't.
too.
But
It's
there is, yeah,
obscene how much alcohol was on that thing.
crazy, crazy, and yeah, and you're just looking, you're like, oh, these guys were just hammered out of their fucking minds, and yeah, in their like late 20s, early 30s. And yeah, I mean, and then there was like Benjamin Franklin, who was old as shit, but he was probably the biggest party animal out of any of them. I mean, yeah, that guy was going to Paris and like basically gave all of France STDs. I mean,
Oh my
it
lord.
is, yeah, which, they still haven't recovered if you ever go to France. But,
I haven't been. I don't have a lot of desire to go to France. Maybe
no, I mean,
the south of France. There's
yeah.
some little town out there that the Australians saved in I think World War II, and
Mm.
they still celebrate Australians. So maybe I'll go there.
Was that Anzac Day? No,
Yeah,
Anzac
no,
Day's World War
we
One.
just
Yeah, that was just not
no,
too long
we
ago.
just had it. Yeah. So Anzac Day is now. So Anzac stands for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, and that's
Yeah.
basically what in World War One, World War II, was transferred from Australians and New Zealanders being in the British Imperial forces.
Uh-huh.
And then somehow we got away from them because the British were just absolute cunts to the Aussies and the New Zealanders. Like,
Yeah.
just sent them out in charges in wave after wave because they didn't give a shit about them. And
That
so,
sounds pretty
but
British. Yeah.
Anzac Day has basically now encompasses everyone in the military, past and present. And so it's
Gotcha.
basically Australia's biggest piss up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
Like the
I thought,
government will give the country the
yeah.
day off the next day because they know no one's going to work.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, see, I thought so it's almost like our because like I guess we have like Memorial Day, which is
Yeah.
basically the same thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I thought Anzac because the only thing I really know about it is like, is it Gallipoli or yeah,
Yeah.
I think
That's one place that Australians fought, like a very famous battle.
yeah, in World War, but I think that was World War One, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, and to be honest, I only know this because of the fucking Mel Gibson movie, which is how I know pretty much everything I know is
From
whether or not
movies.
well, specifically Mel Gibson. Um,
Big Mel fan, huh? Big Mel fan.
yeah,
I haven't met
kinda.
him yet. I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, I've never really heard anybody say like, "God, I'm so glad I got to meet Mel Gibson." But I
Oh,
think it
really?
would be, yeah. But I would love to meet him.
Same.
I think he's a fucking incredible. I mean, movie wise, I don't give a fuck if what people are doing in their personal life. That's your
Yeah.
own thing. I just love Mel Gibson's movies. I'd say Bird on a Wire is one of my favorite movies of all time, and
Yeah.
people really shit on that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
what's a
I
yeah.
still identify him with Lethal Weapon. Like,
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
best series ever done. Love it.
Yeah, Mad Max. I mean, of course, Mad
Oh,
Max
Mad
is
Max. Yeah, absolutely. The
fucking hell.
original, not the one they've got out now. I didn't really like them.
No.
I'm a big movie guy. Like, in the
Okay.
military, a lot of it's all you do is watch movies or you read books, and so it's overflowed into my personal life. And now I just love movies. Me and the missus are going to watch The
Yeah.
Accountant 2 on Friday night.
I heard it was amazing.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love the
I
first
wanna
one.
see it.
Like,
Me too.
I'm not a huge Ben Affleck fan, but he played that role real well.
I've become a huge Ben Affleck fan. I think that guy is actually so much more talented than, like, what people give him credit for because 'cause they're used
Mm,
to seeing, like, kind of the shittier movies he did back in the day, but,
okay.
like,
Hey,
like the
hey,
movies
tell me
yeah.
if I'm wrong, okay? Sorry to interrupt. Tell me if
No,
I'm
go
wrong
ahead.
because did he used to have baby teeth?
Yes.
No, I knew it. I knew it. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
Thought I was
baby
living
teeth.
in an alternate reality where now he has
Oh,
just
no.
perfect, like, good teeth, and they don't really look like veneers or anything either.
Well, it's because 'cause they're old as shit. He got those teeth, before Armageddon. Because if you go back and watch Armageddon,
Ah.
it's like that whole movie's basically an advertisement for his dentist. Like, it is I mean, every scene is him just smiling, like, as wide as he can. You're like, "What the fuck is going on
He's
in this
probably so
movie?"
proud of his new teeth.
Oh, I mean, I would be too if you had those, because in Good
Oh,
Will
mate.
Hunting, he had those tiny little nubs.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I live in LA, man. I see him every day. And some of them
Oh,
are
yeah.
great, and some of them are just like, that dude, they're too big. There's like this ad that
It's like
was
a
on
boob
the
job.
streaming services for a while for like Trivago. And
Yeah.
it's that these two dudes at the hotel counter, and the one guy turns around and is just like, "Whoa, dude, did you choose those? This is fucking enormous!" Like, he
Yeah.
smiles and it's his whole face, fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude, so do you know much about these Meta sunglasses? Because I just bought a pair this morning.
a little bit. Yeah, yeah. I've kind of looked into them. Is it the Ray-Ban, the Meta
Yeah,
Ray-Ban ones? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do a little bit.
yeah. I don't. I was just like, in my brain, I latch onto this one idea, and I'm like, yes. And so my idea was, because I'm next week I'm going out a boat off the coast of California here, and we're going to find
Okay.
these like great white-sized mako sharks. Like,
Mm,
they're
hell
big,
yeah.
they're black, they're scary, and we're going to go swimming with them because I'm an idiot. And
Well,
so I figured when we're on the boat and we pull them alongside and we're tagging them and stuff, because I've only got the one hand, and
mhm.
my trigger finger is this
Eh,
stupid thing that, like,
yeah.
it doesn't really work. I've got to like take my arm off. I've got to cradle the camera like this. And
Oh, yeah.
it's just so fucking annoying. And so I figured if I got these glasses, I just go turn on the video camera, and everywhere I look, like,
Yeah.
I guess I could have just used a GoPro.
It's the same thing. I mean, you kinda
Except it only shoots in HD.
yeah.
I'm such a sucker for new technology, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kinda in my head whenever you were talking about what you're using them for. I was like, "Yeah, GoPro has been around a while, and that kinda does the
Yeah,
same thing,"
yeah,
but,
you're right. But
but
then I
GoPros,
don't, because I can still wear the glasses when I'm on camera, and
yeah.
but having a GoPro on there, I look like an idiot. But
It's very true. Yeah, I mean the glasses, it's pretty indiscreet as far as like from what I've seen, like videos of people wearing them and stuff. Like you can't tell that there's a camera on them, which that's a
yeah,
little
dude, you could
sketchy.
be
But
wearing them right now.
yeah. Which I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
very bad for girls in the gym
yeah,
because
yeah.
there's a lot of problems with dudes. Like, what the fuck is wrong with dudes? What is wrong with them?
I do not know why guys are so fucking weird. Like I
Yeah,
like to think I'm a pretty just even keel fella, you know.
same, bro. I'm very
But I
polite. I open my
yeah,
wife's door every time we get in the car. I'm very gentleman. Then these fucking maniacs that are like putting hidden cameras in bathrooms and like secretly record. Like you see all these video clips
got
on Instagram,
married.
like these
Yeah.
creepers doing this and that when they're not. They're just being normal dudes. But it's
Yeah.
because of these absolute maniacs that have done it in the past. Like
Oh,
some
so
some
many.
some wrong with dudes. Like I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
the male brain has changed from this. I feel like in the olden days we were much more stoic, we were much more grounded, we were
Mhm.
much more manly and polite and things like that. And now
Yeah.
dudes, like it's not just dudes. Like there's girls like that
For
too, not in
sure.
the
Yeah.
same vein. They're weird other ways, but I think humanity is it's changed so much from what it's
Yeah.
actually supposed to be.
Well, it's because guys have been told for the past couple decades, like that you shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be like a masculine kind of, because
Uh,
it gets looked at as like masculinity is this evil thing, which in a certain sense it could be, but that's few and far between when it turns it into that. But it's looked at as like masculinity as a whole is evil, so you should be like not like that. And then the side effect of that is you have creepy fucking people smelling a bench at a gym. Like, I mean,
buying and drinking some Instagram chicks bathwater.
oh my god. Yeah. Like I interview a lot of people in the adult film industry, and the
Okay,
amount of shit that they've talked about, like people have asked to buy from them. You're like, holy hell. Like
damn. Maybe
yeah,
I need to get into that. Yeah,
oh,
I
you
could
can make
I could sell beer from the shell of my robot foot.
you would make so much goddamn money. I mean, there's a market for everything,
Oh
and that's
yeah,
what I've kind
yeah.
of learned. And yeah, I've a
Amputee
yeah,
fetish.
it's a big one. Yeah, it's a oh yeah. There's so many people that just lost their mind right now. I do have
Mate,
a
I guess all we can
yeah.
do is just continue being good guys and leave the rest of the world to figure their own shit out.
I think so. I mean, it's at some point you have to just not worry about what other people are doing. I mean, worry about it enough, to care, but like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't change people. I mean, you
no,
can
unless
give
they want to
people,
be changed, and then change
yeah,
only really happens when it's the last resort. Come full circle now.
exactly. Yeah, man. I have a few random questions for you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know we're over an hour, but if you're
Yeah, no
cool,
dramas, bro. Yeah.
okay. What? It's just a few random questions I usually ask everyone. What was your first?
I was like, should I be concerned?
No. These are no, fuck no.
Uh,
What's your social security number? No, I'm kidding.
no.
And your mom's maiden name, and yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No,
It's for your friend that's a Nigerian prince, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the
if
amount
the
of
money's I'm
money,
gonna get money.
that guy's promised me. Holy hell, I'll do what I gotta do. No, what was your first concert?
Like speaking presentation. Oh, the
Oh,
concert I went to.
yeah, no, like you going to a concert.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was Salt and Pepper. Yeah.
Was it
It
really?
was yeah, it was back in the day where I didn't even have a ticket, but they basically just put a stamp on your wrist and we just like, yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep. So I went because I could go for free.
that's a Salt and
Salt
Pepper.
and
That's
pepper.
and Spinderella.
Push it real good. Yeah, that was it.
Man, that's you know what? You could
Bro,
have given
I'm
me
old, man. Like
well,
I'm 48. I was in the prime time of Salt and Pepper.
hey, those ladies are still in their prime, especially Spinderella. I don't know if
Oh,
you
I haven't
remember
seen
her.
her.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's the DJ, this
she
bit
still
she's
looks
been
good,
doing.
huh?
Oh man. Yeah. They're doing it. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you what, you could have given me 1,000 guesses, and I would not have guessed Salt and Pepper as your first concert. But that's a good one. If you could have seen any band in their prime, who would you pick? Or
Ooh.
artist? It doesn't have to be a band, but
I feel like I have seen them, but I didn't see them in their prime.
okay.
Possibly the Eagles. I love the Eagles.
Really?
Oh, but if it was anyone, Elvis. I would have loved to
Uh,
see Elvis, like in his prime,
yeah.
doing his thing, his fit, his voice, his charm. Like that would be incredible. See the King.
I would have loved to have seen Fat Vegas Elvis. I think to me
Yeah,
that's his
that as well.
prime.
Yeah, I feel
That's
like the
yeah.
concerts were pretty short though.
Yeah,
Is
but
that
I
just as
mean,
long as until he shits himself and then he's got to go?
dude, you want to know something crazy? You know, Elvis had like 60 pounds of undigested feces in his colon when he died.
Oh God,
That's
I didn't.
basically what
That's
killed him.
all right. So I'm probably a lot like you in the way that I carry random facts with me
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
the rest of my life. And now I'm going to have Elvis shit in my 6 pounds of Elvis shit in my brain forever.
Well, he
Thanks,
was
bro.
taking so
Love
many
you.
quaaludes and shit, you
I
know,
hope
that
you get phantom pains.
yeah, well, I already do, and I mean, I don't even know what from, but yeah, yeah, it's great. Well, you know, he was doing nothing but quaaludes every day, and then which makes you constipated, and then he was eating like
Ah,
6,000 calories worth of peanut butter sandwiches. So
holy
you're
shit
gonna
balls.
you're gonna get blocked up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah,
What's the next question? I want to talk
yeah.
about Elvis shit anymore. I think we
Are you sure?
went dark with
Yeah. No,
that.
no worries. What's a movie that since you're a big movie fan, what's a movie that most people love but you hate?
Avatar.
Yes. Fuck
You
yes.
feel me?
I
Yeah.
hate that movie so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's just Dances with Wolves, you know, but with aliens.
I love that movie. It's not
That's a
that
good
I
one.
hate it so much. I just, yeah, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
It
I'm
just
not, I'm,
doesn't
s-
make
It's like, why is there going to be another six more? Like, we don't need any more. Like, leave it at that
God.
one. Like, the second one was whatever. I'm like, I'm just not into it.
It's one of those movies that, like, the first time I saw it, I was like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen," and I realized that I hadn't even paid attention to a word they said. I was just staring at the colors, and then I
And the
saw it a
chick.
second. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and
like I
then
enjoyed it the
yeah,
first time I watched it, but then I was like,
right,
whatever. It's
yeah,
the technology is incredible.
yeah,
Moving on.
yeah. Exactly. That's all that fucking movie was. Yeah, mine's Forrest Gump. That's always been mine.
I really do like Forrest
I
Gump.
know.
Like it just keeps
Yeah,
going and going and going, and you're like, oh, it's going to end now. And then there's another. But now we own Apple, and now it's
Jesus, yeah. And now here's your son, who definitely is
yeah,
not actually your son. I just
uh,
want you to give me half your money.
yeah.
Um,
This heroin addict's going to dump it in your lap after she's turned you down your whole life and fucked you over every time.
yeah, and now has
Here's a
HIV.
baby. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
she's got HIV. I mean, she's fucking yeah. It is. It's a ridiculous movie, but
It's a
yeah.
ridiculous. It is a ridiculous movie, but it was a good journey.
What's your favorite Australian movie? Like made, you know, because as a teenager, I watched Chopper probably way more times than I should have. I,
Chopper's great. Chopper's great. Especially being based on a true story.
yeah.
And it's just like it. Like I feel like the problem with Americans watching it is that they'd lose a few of the subtleties from it that are like really Australian.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, great movie. I really liked Wolf Creek and Wolf Creek 2.
Oh man, Wolf Creek. I gotta watch Wolf Creek too. I'm always skeptical about sequels,
Oh
but I have
God,
heard that the
it's
second one's really good.
it's so much more horrendous.
Really?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, towards the end, and you're like, this
Yeah.
is fucked up. Like, holy
Okay.
shit.
I gotta watch it
I don't know.
then.
I'm having a brain fart. Thinking of Australian movies. Like,
No.
bro, to this day, I still love Crocodile Dundee. Um, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, like
Paul Hogan.
Paul Hogan was amazing. It was such a groundbreaking movie to introduce the world to Australia as well.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know
Yeah.
if I have a
Dundee's a
favorite
good
Australian movie.
Romper Stomper. That's a good one.
Yeah, yep. What's
I mean,
his
I guess
name?
Russell Crowe, but I guess he's from
Russell
New
Crowe's first
Zealand,
one.
isn't he? But
We take him. We accept him.
same. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Close
Rubber
enough.
Stomp was good, but it was just like, yeah, sure, it's skinheads beating up Asian people. Whatever.
Well, yeah, yeah. I guess that's.
That was
Pretty
that.
much.
My no, I don't want to get into that story.
No
Next
worries.
question. So when I joined the airborne unit in the Australian
Uh-huh.
Army, um, just previously to when I joined, there was a large contingent of skinheads in
Ah,
there. And
yeah,
so one of my 2IC of my section in his room on base had two life-size Hitler Youth dolls in original garb. He had a
yeah,
Nazi flag on his wall, and he had two cases full of Nazi medals. And I was just like, and
yeah,
he was fucking insane. He was in the French Foreign Legion as well, and I think he might
yeah,
have gone AWOL or something and joined the Australians. And then he became a special forces sniper. It's like, yeah, there's some stories
yeah.
around that as well. But
No,
like,
no, I got
that
you.
was my
Yeah,
first sort of exposure to that shit.
yeah,
And he literally never did anything else like that. And he
yeah.
said he was just like a collector or whatever.
Oh,
But it's
sure.
like he lived next door to me. I saw it every day. I'm like, this is fucked up. How does he get away
Yeah,
with this shit?
the collecting, people that collect shit like that, and they're like, "Oh, I just love the history of it." I mean, I'm fascinated by the history of it because I do love history. I'm not going to be putting Nazi decorations in my house. Just not going to happen. I mean,
No.
put it in a museum. It's a
Hmm.
great thing for a museum. Don't
Yeah.
erase it. Don't pretend like it didn't happen. But yeah, like collecting it is weird as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I'm with you. Yeah.
all right.
All right.
So we got off track.
Yes. No.
What's
So last
next
question.
random question? Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. So last question. What game show do you think you do best on? It could be a reality type
See,
show, game show.
previous to the shark attack, I would say Survivor because
You could.
like I could literally like not do anything, but my jobs in the military were Paul and your team, whatever. We need you to do
Yeah.
this, and you just go, "Yep, no worries," and you go and get it done. So I feel like I could probably pretty much do everything they threw at me. But now, so
You don't think
I was just on that show Traitors last year. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It
I've
was
seen the
really, really big in
American?
Europe. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen
yeah,
the
okay.
in the. I know there's the British. Which one
Yeah.
were? I
I did
didn't
the
know you watched
Australian
it.
one. Yeah,
Okay.
I think the
Yeah.
Australian one's on whatever streaming services, all the others. The Australian one's on that. But
Okay.
I didn't last very long because I actually picked out one of the traders and they ganged up on me.
That'll
Uh,
do it.
yeah. And so the first week or so we had immunity because my team was winning the challenges, and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next time we didn't win, I was like, it's you. Like, you're too middle of the road. Like, he's an older guy. He was like the friendly granddad, but there was
Yeah.
something about him I knew. It turns out he was like an retired undercover cop. And so he knew how to play the game. And I could just, there was
Yeah.
something. And so they just murdered me and wiped me out that night. So it was
Yeah.
not fun to film anyway. So I was glad to go home.
Yeah.
So I don't know about many game shows other than that because I don't
I
really watch much telly. I don't like watching reality TV. I watch TV to escape reality. Go to a fantasy world and like dragons and like maybe like great war movies and stuff like
yeah.
that, but I don't know much about game
I'm
shows.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, you could still go on Survivor.
Nah, I can't do a lot of things physically. Like I can't climb ropes, I can't hold things, my robot hand drops stuff, I can't run.
Okay.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of limitations there where I could do it if I could change my leg into my running blade or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
change
Yeah.
it to my workout arm, but I wouldn't.
Right. Right.
Was asked to go on it and I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not
It's. I
one of
mean,
the
I'm. Yeah. I'm a massive fan of Survivor, but it seems fucking miserable to me.
Yeah. They
Holy.
asked me to be on Dancing with the Stars as well, and I was like, not a chance. I have never been able to dance. I definitely cannot dance with one robot leg. That's going to be
Yeah.
so embarrassing. I'm only going to play to my strengths. So, but no idea. I have no idea.
No, that's good though. Yeah.
Something where it's kind of like I get to eat. Is there a game show where you can just chill, eat food, maybe go to the gym? Go to
Jersey Shore. I don't know if that's a
yeah.
game show or
Oh, no.
not, but yeah.
Maybe you know what? Maybe Shark Week needs to do their first game show.
Shark Week game
They
show would be
well
good.
they kind of did one with the guy I know, Riley. It was called Shark Academy, and they took a bunch of budding shark scientists and they ran them through all these things, and it was like the last person that survives or whatever gets um, time spent with Riley's scientific charity and
Mm.
whatever, gets all these things, and he made it really not a good show. Like
Yeah.
two of my other friends were on it, and they're like legit shark scientists as well. And he basically, I think, cut them out of the whole show in the edit and made them look like they were just deckhands. And then the person that
Uh,
won didn't even get anything from it. Like he just went, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore." And so
that
it was
sucks.
I didn't watch it. I heard it was terrible. So maybe
Yeah,
we need a rehash. We need a good Shark Week game show. I reckon that'd be awesome.
I'm with you. I think that's the way. That's the route to take.
All
Yeah,
right. If
for sure.
anyone out there's got ideas about how to run a Shark Week game show, hit me up on my Instagram and let me know. I'll make you a partner.
Fuck yeah. Well, speaking of that, thank you so much for coming on, man. I have had a blast talking with you.
Me
Um,
too, man. Thanks.
dude, awesome. So before we go, plug, promote, where can people find you? Anything you got coming up, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I got a bunch of speaking work coming up. I love traveling the country and doing motivational speaking for companies and stuff like that. It's one of my great loves, which is funny because my two biggest fears in life were sharks and public speaking. And now I'm a shark diving public speaker. So don't give up on your dreams. Don't
Yeah.
let fear rule you. Don't let people say something's impossible. Just fucking go and do it because you can. You absolutely can. I am nothing special. I was a dumbass flunk of high school, kicked out of home, and now I'm doing this freaking amazing stuff. So, don't let your past rule you. Don't listen to anyone that says you can't do shit. Just fucking go and do what you love because when you come to the end of your days, you're going to be like, oh man, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. Why not? Or you could just be like, yeah, I rocked shit. So go and do that. I'm on the gram. I'm on, just my name, Paul de Gelder. Watch Shark Week. It's coming out end of July. I can't speak for all the other shows, but mine are going to be great. Giant Mako sharks. I got attacked 6 times on my last show a couple of weeks
Jesus.
ago. Yeah, like 4 times on purpose, 2 times not on purpose.
My God.
Didn't lose any more limbs, so I'm still alive. But
Yeah.
it was scary. Like think
Fuck.
big 13-foot tiger sharks and super aggressive Caribbean reef sharks just like
Yeah.
smashing me. So make sure you watch. It's gonna be a good year. Other than that, hope everyone is happy, has a good life, and keep listening to Cody. He's fucking awesome.
Thanks, man.